For the third year of my secret love for my sister's best friend, Elara, I finally got my wish. I became her boyfriend. We loved each other for 5 years. Night after night, she was lost in a feverish passion for my body, yet she steadfastly refused to speak of marriage. It all shattered the day she crashed her car while street racing. I stayed by her side for 3 days and 3 nights, a sleepless vigil during which I heard her call out a name, again and again. Not my name. She whispered, Ethan, 999 times. Friends who came to visit spoke in hushed, pitying tones. I never knew Elara was so devoted, one murmured. To think she still hasn't forgotten her first love, Ethan, after all these years. How could she forget? Another replied, their voice a conspiratorial whisper. Haven't you noticed? The man who's been by her side the longest, he looks just like him. In that moment, something inside me fractured, a foundation turning to dust. All these years, I had been nothing more than a substitute. With a calm I didn't know I possessed, I dialed my sister's number. Amelia, I said, my voice flat. I'll do it. I agree to go back and marry Serafina. Oh, Adrian, that's wonderful. Amelia's voice erupted with excitement and relief. The family has been waiting for you to say yes. Tell Elara for me before I leave. I added, a cold edge to my tone. It'll save me from having to send an invitation. We'll see, she said, her hesitation palpable. She might not have the time. I hung up abruptly. I turned to see Elara's eyes open, looking at me with a soft, apologetic gaze. She had woken up at some point, though I hadn't noticed. Adrian, she murmured, her voice raspy. I'm so sorry to put you through this. I've kept you cooped up in here for days. She thought I was tired from playing nursemaid. I knew she had misunderstood everything, but I found I had no energy left to explain, no desire to clarify. You must be exhausted watching over me, she continued, her voice gaining strength. Go get some rest. As soon as I'm better, I promise I'll reward my little knight. She pulled my hand to her lips and kissed my knuckles, her expression so sincere, so devoid of guilt, that I could almost believe the lie. For 5 years, this was the act I had been so blissfully deceived by. As I reached the door, she called out to me, a sudden urgency in her voice. Did anyone else come to see me these past few days? My heart seized. I calmly recited the names of a few of her close friends. That's all. I shook my head. A shadow fell across her features, a disappointment so profound it was visible. She rolled over, turning her back to me, the screen of her phone casting a pale, lonely light on her face. The person she was waiting for never came, not even on the day she was discharged. The moment we walked into our apartment, she dropped her bag and wrapped her arms around me, burying her face in my chest. My knight, thank you for everything. It feels so good to be home. Her hands moved with a familiar, restless energy, reaching for the buckle of my belt. I caught her wrists, stopping her. I'm a little tired, I said, my voice hollow. I'm going to take a shower. Under the spray, I couldn't tell if the water on my face was from the showerhead or from my own eyes. All those moments of desperate, tangled passion. Whose face was she seeing in her mind? When I came out, Elara was waiting, hairdryer in hand. She began to dry my long hair with practiced ease, a comfortable ritual that now felt like a violation. After a long silence, she spoke, her tone tentative. Have any invitations or anything arrived in the mail recently? A lump of ice formed in my chest. I lifted my gaze to meet hers in the mirror. No, I said, forcing a casual tone. Why? Should we get married? We could design the invitations ourselves. Her hand stilled. In the reflection, her expression was a murky pool of indecipherable emotions. She hesitated for a beat too long. Adrian, you're still young, she finally managed. We're not in a rush. I cut her off with a sharp, humorless laugh that quickly dissolved into something closer to a sob. Tears streamed down my face. I'm kidding, I choked out, wiping them away. Look how scared you were. Elara let out a long breath of relief and playfully flicked my forehead. You little rascal. As if to flee the conversation, she scurried into the kitchen. I'll make your favorite steak to reward my baby for all his hard work. A moment later, her phone chimed. She glanced at the screen, and an irrepressible joy lit up her face. In her haste, she threw on a different outfit. Adrian, something urgent came up. I have to go out. Don't wait up for me. Go to bed early. It wasn't until the acrid smell of smoke filled the apartment that I realized she had left in such a hurry she hadn't even turned off the stove. Just before I fell asleep, a friend request from an unknown account popped up on my phone. On impulse, I accepted. The profile picture was of a small dog, the same one Elara used. Over our 5 years together, I had pleaded with her more than once to use matching couples' photos, but she always deflected. That's something for kids to do, Adrian. It wouldn't be appropriate for me. She never explained why, and eventually, I stopped asking. Now I knew. She was preserving a memory with someone else. The new friend didn't send a message. I navigated to his profile. He had just posted a new update. Some feelings are eternal. I never used to believe it, but now I do. After all these years, you're still like a girl with her first crush. All I have to do is call your name, and you come running. The accompanying photo was of 2 people drinking from intertwined wine glasses. So this was Elara's urgent matter. She was my sister Amelia's best friend. For me, it was love at first sight. In my youth, my diaries were filled with fantasies of her. I even convinced myself it was fate, that our names both contained a similar sound. I did everything I could to close the gap between us, enrolling in the same university and joining the same debate club. As we grew closer, she often told me my smile reminded her of someone, though she never said who. It wasn't until I scrolled through Ethan's profile tonight that I understood. My smile was a mirror image of his. 5 years of love. I had hinted at marriage so many times, but she always dismissed it, saying I was too young, too unsettled. The truth was, she was the one who was never sure. The next morning, Elara walked in just as I was waking up, carrying a container of steamed buns. You're awake. I knew my little sleepy head would be up late, so I brought you breakfast. A genuine smile played on her lips. She seemed to be in a wonderful mood. I glanced at the buns and frowned. I used to love onions and garlic, but she found the smell unpleasant, so I had given them up completely. In 5 years together, she had memorized all my preferences and had never made a mistake like this. Ethan's social media feed held the answer. There was a photo of them at a small, greasy spoon diner near our old university. The caption read, "Tastes just like it did 8 years ago. Just like her, still so captivating." I pushed the container away. Seeing this, she leaned in close. The scent of onions was strong on her breath, mixed with the faint, lingering smell of cigarette smoke. What's wrong, baby? Not to your liking. I recoiled slightly, pinching my nose. It's the onions. It stinks. Her smile faltered for a second. You kids are so dramatic, she chided, tapping my head. The onion is the soul of the dish, the finishing touch. Nothing can replace it. Just like Ethan in your heart, I thought. No matter how much I resemble him, I can never be a replacement. Today was the signing for my new novel. As I dressed, Elara circled me, her eyes filled with unconcealed admiration. My baby is so handsome. It's raining outside. May I have the honor of giving you a ride? Her expression held no trace of guilt. When her enchanting eyes met mine, they were still brimming with affection. For a moment, I wondered if I had misunderstood everything. Maybe it really was just a dinner between old classmates. That sliver of doubt was obliterated as I went to get in the car. As she always did, she opened the passenger door for me, but this time, her movements were furtive. She quickly tried to hide something behind her back. She thought she was being subtle, but my eyes were sharp. I saw it clearly, a pair of men's underwear. A wave of nausea washed over me. I covered my mouth and nose and slid into the back seat. It smells a bit in here. I'll just sit in the back. A flicker of panic crossed Elara's eyes. She opened all the windows. Does it? You must be overly sensitive. We were about a kilometer from the venue when her phone rang. In the past, she would always let me answer it on speakerphone while she drove. This time, she put in her earbuds before accepting the call. In the quiet car, I could faintly hear the voice on the other end. Elara, I burned my hand while cooking. Can you come help me? After hanging up, she turned to me. Baby, there's an emergency surgery at the hospital that I have to handle. Is it okay if you walk from here? Before I could even nod, she had pulled over, opened my door, and ushered me out onto the sidewalk. In her rush, she didn't even think to leave me an umbrella. As I watched her car speed away, the torrential rain soaked me to the bone in seconds. She still called me baby, but things were different now. The baby wasn't afforded the same treatment anymore. The woman who once moved heaven and earth to drive me to and from work on a rainy day had just abandoned me in a downpour. By the time I arrived at the signing, drenched was not a strong enough word to describe my state. During the Q&A, a reader asked, Mr. Meng, I heard this book was inspired by your own love story. Will the main characters get their happy ending? I had started writing the book when Elara and I were in the throes of our passionate romance. My long-held secret love had finally become a reality, and I was so deliriously happy I wanted to shout it from the rooftops. But by the time I reached the end of the story, I had opted for an open ending. My plan had been to write a sequel after Elara and I were married. I never imagined there would be no after for us. I swallowed the bitterness in my throat. Life doesn't grant that many happy endings, I said, my voice heavy. I think they will probably just disappear back into the vast sea of people. Just as the event concluded, I received a call from Elara. Baby, I'm so sorry I couldn't get you to the signing this morning. To make it up to you, let's meet tonight at our old spot. Our old spot was the French restaurant where she had drunkenly confessed her feelings for me, the place where we officially began. I wanted to refuse, but my eyes fell on the chapter in my novel detailing that very beginning, and my resolve softened against my will. The rain outside grew heavier. The waiter approached my table for what must have been the fourth or fifth time. Sir, the restaurant is closing soon. Is there anything else you need? For the past 5 years, she was always the one who waited while I rushed to her with a heart full of joy. Now, for the last time, I was the one waiting. I waited patiently as evening fell, waited as the delicious meal grew cold, waited until the last embers of my love finally burned out. She never came. On that rain-lashed night, I stepped out of a taxi, holding an umbrella the restaurant had lent me, and walked into the darkness. Elara had always cherished me, forbidding me from going out alone at night, terrified that some harm might befall me. A car, speeding through the deluge, struck me without warning. I was thrown through the air, landing hard on the pavement. As my consciousness flickered, I fumbled for my phone and hit the emergency contact number. Again and again, I called, my hope fading with each unanswered ring. Finally, the call connected. Elara, help me. Adrian, be good, she said, her voice distant. I'm busy right now. I'll call you back later. She hung up. In the final moments before the line went dead, I heard Ethan's voice in the background. Elara, come blow dry my hair. The car that hit me lingered nearby for a long moment. Seeing that I had stopped moving, it quietly drove away. I don't know how long I lay there on the cold asphalt before the relentless, icy rain shocked me back to a semblance of awareness. I struggled to my feet and staggered home. It wasn't until my trembling hand finally managed to fit the key in the lock and I stepped inside that a wave of post-traumatic relief washed over me. Only then did I realize, with a jolt, that the apartment was full of people. They all turned to stare at me. The full-length mirror by the door reflected my wretched state, covered in mud and grime, with scrapes and cuts on my face and arms, from which blood was slowly dripping onto the clean floor. Adrian, what happened to you? Elara was the first to rush forward, reaching for me. I flinched away instinctively. Elara, who is he? A man's voice asked. It was Ethan. Elara's body went rigid. She subconsciously took a half-step back, creating a space between us. He's my best friend Amelia's younger brother. I'm just looking after him for a while. Ethan pinched his nose, looking at me with undisguised disgust. Elara, you've really let your standards slip. You'll let any stray into your home. Be careful you don't catch some disease. Elara wouldn't even look at me. She just nudged me towards the bathroom. Hurry up and get cleaned up. Did you fall down outside? 5 years of love, and to the outside world, I was still just her best friend's little brother. Never her boyfriend. Never worthy of standing by her side. Did something happen to the kid? Ethan's sharp voice cut through the air. Maybe he started a fight himself. Kids these days have no self-respect, wandering around alone this late. At night. I bet he was out looking for trouble. What do you think, Elara? You should probably have him move out. It's not good for your reputation to have a man living with you. Okay, she said. She said okay. Elara said okay. She said she would kick me out. When I emerged from the bathroom, they were in the middle of a lively game. Ethan lost and had to choose someone in the room for an intimate act. He chose a woman sitting next to Elara, but as he leaned in, Elara shot up from the couch, grabbed Ethan by the collar, and crushed her mouth to his. They kissed with a desperate, all-consuming passion, oblivious to the cheers and catcalls from the others. I walked silently back to the master bedroom and noticed that many things were missing. The framed photo of Elara and me on the nightstand was gone. My pillow was gone from the bed. All of my clothes had vanished from the closet. As I was about to go out and ask what was happening, Elara and Ethan walked into the room. I didn't want to face them, so I quickly hid behind the curtains. They didn't turn on the light. In the darkness, I could hear their ragged, suppressed breathing. What? You wanted to kiss someone else? Elara's voice was a low growl, laced with fury. Huh, Elara, are you jealous? Ethan purred. Don't forget, you've got your own little brother living here. I was just playing a game. Why are you so worked up? Ouch, are you a dog? You bit me. I must be crazy, Elara mumbled, her words thick with passion. Seeing you with anyone else is worse than death. You're mine. Only mine. Ethan chuckled, his breath catching. And what about the little brother? You don't really think I believe that nonsense, do you? Best friend's brother. He's clearly your boy toy. Don't spoil the mood, she snapped. He's just a kid. How could he possibly compare to you? There's no future for us. Their words were daggers, plunging into my heart and twisting, tearing it to shreds. Tears streamed down my face in the darkness. 5 years of my devoted heart, and to her, it was an inconvenience, a game. She had never wanted a future with me, never intended to give our love a home. I don't know how much time passed before the sounds from the room finally ceased. I crept out and went to the guest room. All my belongings were there, piled carelessly on the floor in a chaotic mess. Elara didn't come home that night. She didn't send a single message. The next morning, my sister called. Everything is ready here at home. We're just waiting for the groom-to-be. Your fiancé is quite something, by the way, she continued, her voice buzzing with excitement. I heard she hired a dozen top designers from Milan for your wedding attire. The rings are one of a kind, too. She's really put her heart into this. Yeah, I said, my voice hoarse. I'm almost packed. My flight is tomorrow morning. Just as I hung up, a message from Elara came through. Adrian Ming, there's a fireworks show at Century Plaza tonight at 8. I'll be waiting for you there. In the 8 years I had known and loved her, she had called me kid, baby, and Adrian. She had never once used my full name. I knew instantly that she hadn't sent the message, but I had to go. I had to see it for myself. 5 years ago, on our first Valentine's Day together, an emergency surgery had kept her from our date. The next day, she had apologized by setting off a spectacular fireworks display just for me. Returning to the same place felt like visiting a grave. The plaza was packed. I followed the flow of the crowd and found Elara in the center of a large circle of people. She was holding a bouquet of flowers, looking up at Ethan with boundless adoration. Ethan, I love you, she said, her voice clear and strong. Will you marry me? The scene I had dreamed of for countless nights was finally happening, right before my eyes. Only the groom wasn't me. It wasn't that she didn't want to get married. She just didn't want to marry me. In a moment of painful clarity, I realized that in 5 years, she had never once said, I love you to me. She had never made me a single promise. I was the one who had foolishly thrown myself at her feet. Ethan took the microphone, but before he could speak, fireworks exploded overhead in brilliant, deafening bursts. The noise startled a pair of young twins nearby, and they began to wail. Everyone's attention, including Elara's and Ethan's, snapped in our direction. She finally saw me. Adrian, she breathed, her eyes wide with shock. I turned and ran, the wind whipping the tears from my face. Elara started after me, but she had only taken a few steps when Ethan cried out from behind her. Elara, I think I pulled a muscle in my leg. It hurts. Ethan and I were two ends of a rubber band, stretched taut. Elara stood in the middle, hesitating. In the end, she turned and ran back to Ethan. The rubber band snapped, lashing back at me with a pain that went bone deep. To be abandoned again. It was starting to feel normal. Adrian, are you still on schedule? Amelia's voice came through the phone. Your fiancé is insisting on picking you up from the airport. I'm on my way. See you tomorrow. So be it, Elara. Goodbye. This time, it's forever. The next morning, I headed to the airport with my suitcase. The morning rush hour traffic was terrible. As I gazed out the window, I saw Elara's car slowly pass by in the next lane. She was impatiently honking her horn, and as she looked around, her eyes met mine. Her jaw dropped. She threw open her car door and started walking towards me. My fists clenched, my palms slick with sweat. Just as she got closer, the traffic in my lane cleared, and the car lurched forward. Elara ran after me, chasing the car down the road, but she fell further and further behind. My phone began to vibrate relentlessly, one call after another from her. I emotionlessly declined each one and blocked her number. While I was checking in, an announcement came over the speakers. My flight was delayed due to air traffic control issues. Amelia's call came in. Adrian, are you about to take off? When I told her about the delay, there was a long silence on her end. Okay, just wait at the airport. Keep me updated. It wasn't until I saw Elara rushing towards me, out of breath, that I understood. There was no air traffic control issue. This was her doing. I knew she had a relative who worked for an airline. I just hadn't expected her to use that connection. Adrian, she panted, her eyes a complex storm of emotions. Where are you going? I had never seen her look so vulnerable, so uncertain. With me, she had always been the confident, self-assured one. Me? I said, a hollow laugh escaping my lips. I'm going home, of course. I'm here. Our home is here. Where are you going back to? She pleaded. Adrian, last night was an accident. I can explain. It was for Ethan. It was his last wish. I was just helping him fulfill it. Her explanation was so flimsy, so pathetic, that a bitter smile twisted my lips. Elara, do you know what my last wish is? She looked up, her eyes filled with a desperate hope. Whatever it is, I'll do my best to make it happen. Elara, for 5 years of living together, my only wish has been to make you my wife. Are you willing to help me fulfill that? Doubt flickered in her eyes. She looked away, her face a mask of discomfort, carefully choosing her words. Adrian, don't be ridiculous. Marriage isn't a game. Besides, I'm several years older than you. Your family would never let you marry me. Suddenly, something inside me snapped. You've never even met my family. I yelled, a hysterical edge to my voice. How can you be so sure they wouldn't approve? Elara, is it my family who won't agree, or is it that you never, ever wanted to marry me in the first place? It had come to this. She wouldn't even lie to me anymore. What was I still hoping for? To ask her now if she had ever loved me would be a final, pathetic act of self-humiliation. In that instant, a profound exhaustion washed over me. I wanted nothing more to do with her. Elara, I said, my voice low and steady. It's over. Let's break up. Since you've already proposed to Ethan, I'll step aside. I wish you both happiness. Elara stared at me, bewildered. When did we break up? I started to laugh, but the laughter caught in my throat, and tears streamed down my face. If we don't break up, and you won't marry me, then what am I supposed to be? Your lover? A plaything to warm your bed? Elara, you are unbelievably selfish. She frantically wiped the tears from my cheeks. I never said you were just a lover. You didn't have to say it, I shot back. Your actions spoke for you. You dated me for 5 years, but refused to take any responsibility for our relationship. So what does that make me? She paced in front of me, agitated. Adrian, can you please calm down? Can you stop being so unreasonable? Is this just because you saw me propose to Ethan? Do you need me to propose to you in the same way before you'll be satisfied? She demanded. When did you become so irrational? You were always the most understanding, the most obedient one. I suddenly had nothing left to say. In her eyes, I was supposed to be the understanding one, the one who quietly endured humiliation to remain her bed warmer, her toy for boring evenings. Elara, love is a two-person street, but a breakup isn't. I looked her straight in the eye. And remember this. This time, I'm the one leaving you. Her mouth opened, then closed. She finally seemed to grasp the finality in my voice. I'm sorry, Adrian, she whispered. I wasn't thinking clearly. She couldn't finish. Perhaps she realized she couldn't even convince herself. The standoff was broken by an unexpected voice from behind me. Adrian, I'm here to take you home. My sister Amelia strode towards me, looking travel-worn but determined. I quickly wiped my eyes and wrapped an arm around her. Amelia, what are you doing here? She ruffled my hair. You said there was a delay, so I chartered a private plane to come get you. Everyone at home is waiting. Elara approached, forcing a smile as she greeted my sister. Amelia, are you here to see Adrian off too? Elara nodded, her gaze avoiding mine. After a moment of strained pleasantries, Amelia announced it was time to go. As my sister dealt with the luggage, Elara followed me, tugging quietly on my sleeve. It's good for you to go home for a bit. Clear your head, she whispered. When you're feeling better, I'll come and get you. Adrian, she added, her voice soft. We have a long future ahead of us. Don't get stuck in a rut over a single moment. I looked at this woman, the woman I had poured my heart out to since I first understood love, the woman I had fantasized about spending my life with. My eyes began to sting. Elara, after this goodbye, there is no us anymore. Just as we were about to part, Amelia clapped Elara on the shoulder. You have to come to the wedding. As family from the bride's side, you'd better bring a thick, red envelope. Wedding? What wedding? Elara asked, confused. Amelia was about to answer when her phone rang. She stepped aside to take the call. When she returned, she grabbed my arm. There's an issue with the flight path. We need to leave now. Elara, you have to be there, okay? Elara stood frozen in place, watching us leave. This time, I didn't look back once. I would never look back again. Standing at the door of the private jet was a slender, cool-faced woman waiting for us. She stepped forward and greeted me with a natural ease. Amelia laughed. Don't be so formal. This is your fiancé. The woman, Serafina, poured me a cup of tea, then sat across from me, her eyes bright and focused. Hello, she said, her voice like music. I'm Serafina Shun. You can call me Sarah. I was suddenly flustered. I wasn't prepared for this. I hadn't expected her to come in person. This was the legendary, formidable heiress of the Shun family, a woman rumored to be able to bankrupt a company with a single displeased frown. I shot my sister a fierce glare. That unreliable sister of mine hadn't given me any warning. Don't look at me like that, Amelia said with a grin. Sarah said she wanted to give you a surprise. She then made an excuse about needing the restroom, leaving us alone. I sat in awkward silence, unsure of what to do, until Serafina's pleasant voice broke the tension. You wrote The Bloom That Never Came, didn't you? She asked. I've read it. The emotions are so sincere and delicately written. It's beautiful. The Bloom That Never Came was the novel I had based on my relationship with Elara. When it was first published, I gave her a copy. She flipped through it once, tossed it on the coffee table, and scoffed. Only young people like you are into these unrealistic fantasies. It's all just love, love, love. There's no substance to it. She had added, a grown man writing this stuff. Isn't it embarrassing? The memory still stung. I never imagined Serafina would have read my book. A warmth spread through my chest, a seed of genuine affection. Perhaps this could be a good beginning after all. We started talking about my book, and the conversation flowed easily to music, literature, and travel. By the time my sister returned, the awkwardness between Serafina and me had completely vanished. The moment the plane landed, a Rolls-Royce whisked us to a hotel where a team of stylists and makeup artists were already waiting. The suite was filled with more than a dozen high-end designer suits and matching shoes. Wow, Adrian, Sarah has really spared no expense, Amelia exclaimed. Any one of these suits could cause a sensation in the city. I knew the Shun family was powerful, but I had no idea they lived at this level of luxury. Isn't this a bit too much? Serafina, who had already changed into a stunning off-the-shoulder gown, replied, You deserve the best. This is our first public appearance together. It should be grand. I chose a suit that complemented her mermaid-style dress. A flash of admiration lit up Serafina's eyes as she took my arm. We walked into the banquet hall and straight to the center of the stage. She raised our joined hands. Esteemed friends, members of the media, I have invited you all here today because I have joyous news to share. Today is the day of my engagement to Adrian Meng, she announced, her voice ringing with confidence. We will be holding our wedding in 1 week, and we welcome you all to celebrate with us. In 5 years with Elara, I had been like a secret lover, hidden from the light. She had never once introduced me as her boyfriend to anyone. Serafina was the complete opposite of Elara. She held my arm and moved through the crowd, introducing me to every friend and client. Amelia approached me, holding her phone with a strange look on her face. Adrian, Elara is on the phone for you. I glanced at Serafina, then shook my head at my sister. Amelia put the phone to her ear and laughed. Why are you looking for my brother? He's busy with our guests. Her voice turned serious. What? You know Adrian was injured? Yes, the poor kid got hurt quite badly. Just then, our parents arrived. Amelia quickly wrapped up the call. Next Saturday. You have to come. I'll send you the address later. Got to go. The parents are here. The ceremony is about to start. She hung up and joined me as we greeted our families. Serafina's father was a kind, refined man. The first thing he did was hand me a share transfer agreement. Good lad, he said with a warm smile. I liked you the moment I saw you. From now on, the future of the Meng and Shun families rests on your shoulders. This is half of the Shun family's shares. Sign this today, and it's all yours. You are now a member of our family. He patted my shoulder. No one in the Shun family will ever be wronged. You act boldly, and no matter what happens, the Shun family will have your back. The thin stack of papers in my hand was more than just wealth. It was a symbol of acceptance. The match my family had arranged for me was, surprisingly, turning out to be perfect. The next few days were a blur of wedding preparations, fitting clothes, trying on rings, decorating our new home. The memories of Elara seemed to belong to another lifetime, so distant I could barely recall them. While finalizing the guest list, I saw her name, Elara. The sight felt like a ghost from a past life. After much hesitation, I decided to tell Serafina everything about my past relationship. If she couldn't accept it, It was better to call off the wedding now. But if she could accept all of me, I would leave the past behind forever and spend the rest of my life with her. After I finished, the usually cool-headed Serafina simply tapped my forehead. If something that small could make me give up on you, I wouldn't have gotten very far. In life, she said softly, Adrian, I chose to marry you for who you are. I wasn't a part of your past, but I hope to be with you for every single day of your future. Despite her words, I noticed later that Serafina had moved Elara's seat to the furthest, most obscure corner of the venue. The woman had a delightfully petty streak. On the day of the wedding, I woke up early, ready to embrace the most important moment of my life. When I took Serafina's hand and we walked into the hall, the room erupted in applause. There was a small commotion from the farthest corner, but it was quickly handled by the security guard Serafina had stationed nearby. We exchanged rings, promised each other a lifetime together, and sealed it with a kiss. Later, in our new home, surrounded by festive red decorations, it finally sank in. I had a family now. After showering, I returned to the bedroom, feeling a little nervous. I sat on the edge of the bed, flipping through a book on the nightstand, my mind a jumble of thoughts. I didn't see a single word. Serafina emerged from the bathroom, a faint, alluring fragrance trailing behind her. Lost in my own world, I didn't notice her sit down next to me until her melodious voice startled me. Husband, she purred, who has a better body, me or the models in that magazine? Caught red-handed, I looked down and saw, to my horror, that I had been staring blankly at a lingerie photo shoot. My face burned. Throwing caution to the wind, I grabbed her hand and pulled her into my arms. In the darkness, I didn't know whose breath was quickening, whose heart was pounding like a drum. Is this okay? I whispered. We were both adults. We knew what was meant to happen on a wedding night. When she nodded, I took the lead, rolling over so I was above her. Outside, the rain fell in a steady rhythm, a gentle soundtrack to a night that never seemed to end. When I woke up the next morning, Serafina was in the kitchen preparing breakfast. Seeing me, she turned and gave me a kiss. It's almost ready. Go sit down. This peaceful, domestic bliss was the life I had longed for. Our quiet moment was interrupted by a knock. Sir, the housekeeper said, there is a Miss Liu here to see you. I had known Elara for years, but this was the first time I had ever seen her look so disheveled. Her usually perfect hair was a mess, her eyes were bloodshot, and the bouquet of flowers in her hands had been crushed. She stormed towards me, only to be blocked by Serafina. Where did this mad dog come from? Thinking she can say Adrian's name. Serafina's voice was ice. Who are you? Elara shrieked. I haven't even settled my score with you, and you dare to yell at me? Before Serafina could react, I stepped forward and grabbed Elara's flailing wrist, my grip like iron. She struggled but couldn't break free, a look of humiliation crossing her face. Her voice softened, becoming pitiful. Adrian, I give up. I surrender. I threw her hand away from me. Faced with this rare admission of defeat, I felt nothing. No anger, no pity, just a vast, empty calm. This is what it feels like to no longer love someone. Adrian, stop this, she pleaded. Come home with me, okay? Wasn't your dream to marry me? I promise, if you come back with me, we'll get married right away. Looking at her now, so submissive, I remembered all the times I had brought up marriage, only to be met with her evasive eyes and dismissive words. Adrian, you're still young. Your family won't approve. Aren't we fine like this? What's so great about marriage anyway? I once believed that sincerity could move mountains, but the pain had been too great. Again and again, she had abandoned and hurt me without a second thought. I am only human. I get tired too. Elara stepped forward to take my hand, but I stepped back, standing shoulder to shoulder with Serafina. Elara, we already broke up. And besides, I'm married now. Her face went pale. I don't care, she said, shaking her head. Adrian, as long as you come back to me, I don't care that you've been married. She pulled a pair of matching rings from her pocket and held them out to me, her eyes pleading. Adrian, I'm really ready to marry you. See, I even bought the rings. I glanced at my right hand, at the faint scar on my wrist from the accident, and at the wedding band Serafina had chosen for me. A flicker of guilt crossed Elara's face. Adrian, it's my fault. I was wrong. I shouldn't have ignored your call for help. I've already found the man who hit you. He's been sentenced. It was Ethan who hired him. I never thought he could be so cruel. She stammered. Adrian, please, give me a chance to make it up to you, okay? No, I said firmly, putting my arm around Serafina's waist. Elara, you were never in love with the real me. You were in love with the idea of me, a fantasy fueled by your own unwillingness to let go. The reason I broke up with you is because I finally saw our relationship for what it was. I don't love you anymore. When I look at you now, I feel nothing. I found my home now. I am very happy with my life, and I love my wife. If you have any respect for the time we knew each other, I finished. Please, don't ever appear in front of me again. Elara couldn't accept it. She shook her head desperately, her expression shifting from pleading to bewilderment, and finally to rage. Fine. You're really something. Adrian Meng, were you cheating on me with this bitch all along? Is that why you disappeared without a word? She spat the words out. You irresponsible, cheating bastard. Still not satisfied, she turned to Serafina with a cold sneer. And you, Serafina Shun, let me tell you something. He lived with me for 5 years, and then turned around and married you. Aren't you disgusted? The response was the sharp crack of Serafina's hand across Elara's face. The gentle, warm woman I knew had vanished, replaced by a cold fury, an aura of intimidating power. I finally understood why she was known for being formidable. This first slap, Serafina said, her voice dangerously calm, is to teach you respect. Just because someone doesn't love you, you don't have the right to slander them. She slapped her again. This second one is for Adrian. The person I want to cherish more than anything. You hurt him so deeply. How dare you ask him to come back? A third slap. And this one is to thank you. Thank you for leaving this wonderful man for me. Elara, you've lost your chance. Serafina stood there, magnificent in her anger. Then, in the next second, she turned and collapsed into my arms. Adrian, my hand hurts, she whimpered. She bullied me. Elara's face turned green. She pointed a trembling finger at us. Adrian, you too. Serafina peeked out from my embrace, a pout on her lips. Adrian, I'm tired. I want to go back to bed for a nap. She snuggled closer. You have to hold me while I sleep. The actress was back. I took her hand, and she shot a smug, victorious look over her shoulder at Elara. Don't cry just because you lost, okay? If you have to cry, at least go hide somewhere. It's so embarrassing. Elara looked like she was about to explode. I'm not going to let this go. You're not going to let what go? A new voice cut in. It was my sister, Amelia. Her usually gentle face was a mask of cold fury as she marched up to Elara and slapped her hard. Who the hell do you think you are, interrupting my brother's honeymoon? I'm his girlfriend. Amelia shoved her back. What gives you that right? 5 years. You hid this from me for 5 years and bullied Adrian for 5 years. You've got some nerve. You wouldn't acknowledge my brother for 5 years, so what the hell are you doing here now? Get out. I never saw Elara again after that day. I heard from my publisher that someone had bought every single copy of The Bloom that never came. A mutual friend later told me that Ethan hadn't been forced to go abroad back then. He had taken up with a wealthy heiress and wanted to dump Elara. It was just a convenient coincidence that Elara's mother, who disapproved of him, offered him money to leave. So he took it and disappeared. After I left, Elara had apparently gone on a rampage, trying to ruin him financially. The last I heard, he had hit rock bottom and become the kept man of a rich older woman. None of it mattered to me anymore. I was in Iceland with Serafina, watching the northern lights. Sarah, why did you choose Iceland for our honeymoon? Because, she said, looking at the shimmering curtains of light, legend says that if you see the aurora even once in your life, it's like watching God set off fireworks just for you. Any wish you make will come true. I immediately closed my eyes and made a wish. When I opened them, I asked her, what did you wish for? She gazed at me with profound affection. I didn't make a wish this time. I made a wish under the aurora many years ago. Now, my wish has come true. I am completely content. Looking at her serious expression, I remembered what my sister had let slip. There was no love at first sight. It had been premeditated all along. What about you? She asked. What did you wish for just now? I'm not telling you, I teased. It won't come true if I say it out loud. We laughed and joked, and as we were leaving, I took one last look at the spectacular display in the sky. If the legends are true, I wish for a lifetime of happiness with Serafina, until our hair turns gray.